fire burning and all.
Good morning and welcome to the January 10th, 2019 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. If any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the agenda, there are speaker request forms to the left of the dais. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the secretary. At this time, we would also like to ask that if any member of the audience has a cell phone or other electronic device, that you either turn it off or turn the ringer to silent. If you need to take a call, please step out to the hallway so the meeting is not disrupted. The public hearing on item number 1, the approval of the November 8th Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting minutes, is now open. Mike Klosny made the motion to approve and Galen seconded. Any discussion on that? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2.
For a variance request to reduce the minimum required side yard setback that abuts a street for a garage addition from 25 feet to 15.9 feet. Property located at 3308 Locust Street. Here we have, it's on the corner of East Fairmont Boulevard and Locust Street. Property zone medium density residential district. We've got a park to the north, zone public, that's that blue, and low density residential district to the west. There's an existing single family dwelling with a 2-stall garage located on the property. The applicant is proposing to construct a 12-foot by 24-foot addition on the north side of the garage, and thus is requesting the variance to reduce the setback. East Fairmont, or let's see, that's urban neighborhood is the future land use. This is the major street plan identifying that East Fairmont Boulevard is identified as a minor arterial street requiring 100 feet of right-of-way. 100 feet of right-of-way is dedicated for that street, but it is a minor arterial. Site plan doesn't show up too well. Shows that the setback is in compliance today with a 2-stall garage, and then this one shows the addition with the reduced setback to the property line about 15.9 feet. This is from the original building permit for the property confirming setbacks. Applicant photos showing what that intersection looks like and where they're proposing, that black truck is where they're proposing to construct the addition onto the garage. Site photos from yesterday showing the property, adjacent property to the south, church to the on the other side of the street, park to the north, looking along East Fairmont Boulevard to the east and to the west, and then along Locust Drive, going back to a residential neighborhood. Staff's position is that the reasonable use of the land exists. There is a single-family dwelling with a 2-stall garage currently located on the property. If we go back to the aerial, we can see that on the property to the south, there was an addition put on the backside. It could potentially be done back here, doing a deeper garage rather than going out towards the street. For these reasons, staff is recommending that the variance request be denied. The applicant is in the audience if there are any questions. Are there any questions for staff at this time?
Mike.
How does this fit into we just discussed garages, how does that fit into what we just last planning passed?
The ordinance amendment which you reviewed was for oversized garages. This would be in compliance, wouldn't require a conditional use permit.
Okay.
It meets it's less than 1,500 square feet.
I don't see any other lights up for questions for staff. I do have a speaker request from Sandra Arnold. Mrs. Arnold, if you'd like to, if you could, just give your name and address for our records.
Good morning, Sandra Arnold, 3308 Locust Street. Yeah, I'm applying for this variance, and I was a little surprised that it was automatically kind of denied, but I can see, I mean, there's some other reasons behind it. One of the things that when I came in to kind of discuss this, we made sure like the measurements were being taken, and some of the things that were kind of brought to my attention at the time was it was about 289 feet going all the way across from one area to the next for a lot of variance, which then within that is that 100 variance of the right-of-way needed to be there. Therefore, there probably wouldn't be any need for request from our property to be needed for any additional right-of-way. And as you can see in the picture, it wouldn't go any out farther than that tree. Then there's quite a bit of land still up until the fence, which there's a fence there, before the sidewalk, and then a lot of the a pretty large boulevard there. One of the reasons why we want to do this is my parents bought this house a little over a year ago, and one of the conditions for my parents buying this house is that if my dad ever had passed away, that my family and I would move in and help take care of my mom. They were both very elderly. Unfortunately, my dad did pass away in August. So we have now moved in, and we're getting ready to sell our house. And therefore, we want to be able to have my mom be able to have her car, be able to still have the use of her vehicle and be able to protect it along with our vehicles as well, which then we would have my vehicle and my husband's vehicle, along with, you know, other tools and different things that go in there. So we're looking to be able to add that addition. I do understand the ability to go towards the back, but then that does create some, you know, inconveniences of doing tandem parking, where, you know, of trying to, if most of the time, granted, my husband and I probably leave more often than my mom, but it does leave a little bit of inconvenience of trying to figure out how we're all going to park, you know, 3 vehicles and needs with trying to do a tandem garage. So I'd, you know, really like for you to kind of double look at this and see if there would be availability for you to approve this variance. I do appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the commission on this item? Karen?
Thank you. I do understand your request and the need that you feel that you need that third stall for your garage. My neighbor right now currently has several kids, and they have 3 extra cars, and they have a 2-car garage, and so they park 2 cars in the garage and 2 cars in the driveway, and then sometimes some on the street. And it is a hassle to move cars around and do all that, and they do that. But my thoughts are, with this particular request, is that there is reasonable use of the land, and by our definition of how we can grant variances, it's hard for me to say you don't have reasonable use of the land. Usually when we grant variances, it's because of the slope of the land, or there's some reason why you cannot use that property. And so for me, it's going to be hard for me to say that I would approve this variance. So I just want you to know where I stand.
I don't see any other questions or comments, unfortunately. Okay. Karen made the motion to deny this variance request based on the criteria that reasonable use of the land exists. And Mike Gallagher seconded that motion. Are there any other discussion points on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is 18VA015, a request to reduce the front yard setback for an existing structure once right-of-way is obtained from 25 feet to 2.9 feet. Property located at 1401 West Omaha Street. Property zone general commercial district. It's in a little commercial/industrial corridor along West Omaha with West Main Street to the south and the park to the north. There's an existing building located on the property. It houses a bicycle shop and a microbrewery. The reason for this variance is that the South Dakota Department of Transportation is acquiring right-of-way along West Omaha Street for public improvements. As part of that, they're removing a portion of the building. Taking the right-of-way will create a new property line, and so thus they need to be in compliance with the setbacks for the new property line. The reality is that they're going to actually increase the setback from what is currently 0 feet to 2.9 feet. Mixed-use commercials, the future land use, and then showing the major street plan. Here's showing the portion of the building which will be removed for the additional right-of-way. And then taking a look at the property, that's the location of Lost Cabin Microbrewery and other, this is looking into the parking lot, north into the park. And then the part of the building which portion of it will be removed for the right-of-way acquisition by the DOT, and looking along West Omaha to the west, and that's the end of the pictures. So this is a variance request. It benefits the public good. However, part of staff's recommendation is that, let me get the language right, that the variance be approved for the existing structure only. Any redevelopment of the property or damage over 50% of the structure's value shall require that the new structures comply with the minimum required setbacks. So if anyone was going to come in, take down the building and build a new building, we'd still want that 25-foot setback provided along West Omaha Street. So the variance approval that we're recommending is that it be for the existing structure and as proposed with part of this project. So from 25 feet to 2.9.
Thanks, Fletcher. Any questions for city staff on this one? I don't see any. I don't have any speaker requests, so I'd look for a motion on this item. All right, Karen.
Approve.
Okay, Karen made the motion to approve the variance request to reduce the front yard setback from 25 feet to 2.9 feet for the existing structure only, based on the criteria that this variance is in line with the public good. Rachel seconded that motion. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. This appears to be the end of our business for the Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. I'd look for a motion to adjourn then. Rachel made the motion, and Mike Goller seconded that motion. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? We're adjourned from Zoning Board of Adjustment. We will now commence the Rapid City Planning Commission meeting for January 10th, 2019. Again, if any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the Planning Commission agenda, please fill out a speaker request form and hand it to the staff along the left wall. Items 1 through 3 have been placed on the consent calendar and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. The findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the City Council. The City Council will make the final decision with the exception of the following item. Item 2, 18 PD 037. The Rapid City Planning Commission's actions on this item is final unless any party appeals that decision to the Rapid City Council. All appeals must be submitted in writing to the Department of Community Development by close of business on the 7th full calendar day following action by the Planning Commission. Are there any items 1 through 3 staff would like to remove? Any items 1 through 3 that any Planning Commissioner would like removed? And any items 1 through 3 that any audience member would like removed? All right, we'd look for a motion then for, to approve items 1 through 3 per staff's recommendation. Mike Holler made that motion. Second. And Rachel seconded that motion. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is 18 PD 036, a major amendment to a plan development to allow an electronic reader board sign for property located at intersection of Eglin Street and North Lacrosse Street. It's property that's currently being developed as a hotel, True by Hilton and Hampton Inn and Suites. We've seen it as a final plan development in the recent past. Property zone general commercial district with a planned development and is located east of Lacrosse Street and along the south side of Eglin Street and behind Walmart in a ways. Here we're showing the beginnings of the construction, although the building is up at this time, and future land use shows it as mixed-use commercial. And then Eglin Street is identified as a collector street leading to the rest of Rushmore Crossing to the east. We have a site plan showing the footprint of that hotel and the parking. There is a restaurant pad or future construction pad identified, which we'll see as a major amendment in the future if any exceptions are required, but that's not part of this application. Landscape plan. Here's the proposed pole sign with a 51.5 square foot proposed LED message board. The maximum allowed size of sign is 60 square feet, so they are under what is allowed by ordinance. Here's showing the elevations of the hotel and additional signage that's being proposed. And then we're looking at the site from the north looking south. Up on the west side of the property is the proposed location of the pole sign with the electronic reader board. Looking at adjacent development in the area directly to the north, the future road that might go through, and then looking back towards the east, and that's the top of Sam's Club you can see. Looking at the adjacent property along Luna, and again looking at the area where that pole sign will be located. The Planning Commission has directed staff to bring forward any LED signs that are located within a plan development or conditional use permit for their review. So if the Planning Commission determines that the sign is appropriate for this location, then staff would recommend that the major amendment be approved with the stipulations noted in the staff report.
Thank you, Fletcher. I don't have any initial requests to speak up here. Anybody have any questions on this one? I don't either. Anybody have a motion on this one? All right. Rachel made the motion to approve item 4 with staff recommendations. Is there a second? Galen seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5.
Item number 5 is a conditional use permit to allow on-sale liquor use in conjunction with an existing furniture store at the property located at 430 Main Street. Specifically, the applicant would like to hold up to 6 annual special events that includes complimentary food and maybe a glass of beer and wine as well. The subject property is located in the Central Business District and is approximately 0.56 acres in size. This is an aerial overview of the property. The building footprint is 24,000 square feet. It also has a basement that's approximately the same size for a total of 48,000 square feet. Future land use shows the subject property as downtown. And on the city's major street plan, the property is located on the corner of 5th Street and Main Street. This is a site plan that was submitted by the applicant, just noting that there is no external construction going on as a part of this application. Everything would be inside the building, but the alley to the north of the building is used by customers for pickup and drop off for furniture. Specifically, on the interior of the building, it's the applicant's intent that these special events would take place here and here towards the back of the main floor, away from the showroom. So those events are going to include brunches during business hours. They also might include some invite-only special evening socials as well. So some events will take place during business hours, some would be after hours as well. But they'll be located towards the north end of the store, near existing break rooms and the kitchen. This is a rendering of the wall signage on the building, and this did already go through the Historic Sign Review Committee approval. So these are proposed and existing signs. This is a render of the lighting plan for those signs. Another lighting plan. These are the exterior elevations of the building, again noting that those are not changing as part of this application, just to give a perspective of what that corner looks like. I was able to visit the site and take a few photos. This is looking back to the south across the property, noting that it's an auto repair shop across Main Street from there. Looking back to the south and west, back along 5th Street. Looking to the north along 5th Street. Back to the west, down along Main Street, the main downtown area, and back to the east along Main Street. With that, staff would recommend approval of the conditional use permit to allow on-sale liquor in association with an existing furniture store with stipulations as noted in the project report. Staff to be available for any questions if you have them, and the applicant is also in the audience too.
Thanks, John. Mike Kwasny?
This is similar to the one we passed on the flooring, wasn't it? Just in this last year?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Vicki.
It is similar, Mike. When the applicant came in, we expressed concern with being in a retail store and having alcohol served and maybe someone's pocketbook opening up a little bit more than they intended to. And it was explained to us in good detail that these would be special events only. They would happen up to 6 times a year. This is when people would be invited in to take home decor seminars and training sessions and such. So it wouldn't just be going over and for a daily shopping and walking in and being handed a glass of beer or wine. So per their operational plan, with the limitations as presented, it appeared to be similar to what was allowed for the lighting store. And with that, we did recommend to approve with the stipulation that it operate in compliance with their plan. Mr. Chair, if we could get everyone to use the microphone.
Sorry, I turned it off. I would propose that we go ahead and pass this with the stipulations that were stated.
All right. Mike Kwasny made the motion to approve item number 5 with the stipulations as listed by staff. Is there a second to that? Mike Gallagher seconded that motion. Any further discussion or questions on this item? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Any discussion items or staff items today? All right.
Good morning, Kelly Brennan, Long Range Planning. Our comprehensive plan was adopted in June of 2014, and one of the recommendations is the plan is to periodically look at and possibly amend some specific areas. We would ask that Planning Commission direct city staff to bring forward a comprehensive plan amendment at this time. We've noticed some discrepancies between the zoning designations and the future land use designations. And there's also quite a few specific locations throughout the city that we are going to recommend some future land use changes. This would come forward in a couple of months, most likely, if you did direct us to bring forth this comprehensive plan amendment. And then at that time, we would go into more detail, these exact locations and why we were making the changes.
Karen?
I'll make a motion that we authorize the staff to go forward and bring those review or those changes to the comprehensive plan back to us for our decision.
Thank you.
Karen made the motion to approve staff to take on that task and bring us back a proposed change or amendment, and Mike seconded that motion. Any further discussion on this one? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now that I turn the page, it looks like there's a second one.
Yes, Commissioners, just wanted to remind you, we did send out an email the other day about our meeting, joint work session with the City Council next week, Thursday evening, starting at 6:30. There was a wrong time sent out initially at 6 o'clock, but it will start at 6:30. Well, we will serve some food for you to entice you to come and be a part of that meeting. Hopefully we'll be able to get most of you there. It is focused on the TIF policy and understanding that we have had already some meetings on that, but this is an important item that we would like to finalize, and hopefully this will be our last needed meeting, but of course we will move forward with whatever else we need to at that point. But we will do some final review, and we will be sending out to you today the FAQs, the frequently asked questions that we have received. If you have anything further you'd like us to address when you receive this or even prior to, we will add that to that so that we can cover any and all issues that have been identified up to this point. We would like to be able to move forward on this issue, so it would be beneficial for you to be able to be there and help our meeting come to fruition and some kind of finality. We will certainly move through it as quickly as we can. We have not expressed any large need of doing major presentation or anything like that at this point, since we've already reviewed it, but we will address whatever seems to be necessary at that meeting. So again, next Thursday at 6:30, it'll be upstairs in the conference room. Thank you.
Has there been any updates to the draft version that we looked at the last?
Yes, we'll be sending
joint
that out to
session?
you as well. Very minor updates from what you've already looked at, just a couple of tweaks. So
All right.
we'll point those out.
Thank you. Oh, I stole Karen's question. Any other questions or comments on this one? Definitely encourage everyone to take a look at this and be a part of it. Any other items?
One more,
All
Mr.
right.
Chair, and it just goes to meeting protocol. As we saw a couple times in today's meetings, what we've noticed of late is that there's been a lot of discussion with mics not turned on, and that makes it really difficult when we're trying to put the minutes together, especially when we have a long item like we did at our last meeting on some apartment development. It's difficult to put into the minutes what was said. So if we just always remember, go through the chair, make sure that our microphone is on before when we start speaking, and then we can record that. It then gets streamlined for people at home to watch, and also it helps us with doing the minutes. So thank you for that.
All right, good reminder. Commissioners have any items or anything? All right, I'd look for a motion to adjourn. All right, Rachel made the motion. And Mike Goller seconded that motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.